Jefferson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness!
Jettis came into the NFL and took the league by storm. This is his story from being a small-time 3-star recruit to one of the greatest wide receivers in the world, breaking records and claiming accolades as a top-tier talent in the NFL. Real quick, who are your top 5 receivers in the league right now? Let us know in the comments. Justin Joshua Jefferson was born and raised in Louisiana as part of an athletic family. His father, John, played college football at Louisiana Lafayette and spent 4 seasons in the NFL as a wide receiver. His mother, Elaine, is a nurse, and his brothers, Jordan and Rookie, both have football backgrounds. Jordan, the eldest brother, played quarterback at LSU for 4 seasons, starting 32 games. Ricky also played football at LSU, first as a receiver and then after switching to defense as a safety. Both brothers went undrafted and spent time on practice squads in the NFL. Of course, for Justin, having his 2 older brothers play college football and get a taste of the NFL meant he was motivated to do the same. Justin described his brothers' paths as one of the main factors in his own journey, showing him the ropes and being there for him as a strong support system as he developed as a football player. Justin played his high school ball at Destrehan High School in Destrehan, Louisiana, but he hadn't broken out yet as the superstar he is today. In fact, he was ranked the 205th best wide receiver in the nation during his recruiting year and the 65th best prospect out of the state of Louisiana. The world didn't know who Justin Jefferson was yet, but they were about to find out. He enrolled at LSU following both of his brothers and set out to prove himself on the college football scene. He worked in the shadows in his freshman year, only getting on the field in 4 games and only getting targeted once. DJ Chark was the main man at the time, but the Tigers were a run-heavy team, led by Darius Guice and Darrell Williams at the time, with the two combining for over 2,000 yards and 20 rushing touchdowns in that 2017 season. The following year was the year Joe Burrow arrived. He had fallen out of favor at Ohio State, and coach Ed Orgeron put his faith in him to come over to LSU and show him what he could do. Burrow quickly built a connection with Justin Jefferson, and the wideout became his favorite target that year, leading the Tigers with 875 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns to his name. Ja'Marr Chase was a freshman on the roster that year, with 313 yards and 3 touchdowns of his own, but it was Justin Jefferson facing the top cornerback on opposing defenses and proving his value as a primary wide receiver in the world of college football. Despite his productive season in 2018, LSU was still not seen as a threat. When it came to previewing the 2019 campaign and the best wide receiver groups in the nation, it was all eyes on Alabama, with the likes of Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, and Devonta Smith, Clemson with T. Higgins, Justin Ross, and Cornell Powell, and then the likes of Oklahoma with CeeDee Lamb, and USC with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Michael Pittman. All those teams had a proven group of receivers and a top-tier quarterback, but nobody was paying attention to the LSU Tigers. The program underwent a major change prior to the 2019 season, bringing in Joe Brady as the team's passing coordinator and wide receivers coach. Brady was a former assistant with the New Orleans Saints, who introduced a spread offense with some West Coast philosophies added in, and that meant the Tigers were about to start slinging the football around a whole lot more. That season, the Tigers took the world of college football by storm. The offense was completely transformed, and their NFL-style system proved too much for college football defenses week after week. Joe Burrow was lighting it up, and his name was quickly climbing draft boards from a relatively unknown candidate to the eventual #1 pick in the NFL draft. But it was thanks to Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase that he put up such groundbreaking numbers. Justin Jefferson was going to work all over the field. He led the team in receptions with 111, a new school record. Jefferson's 1,540 yards and 18 touchdowns helped LSU to a national championship, with Ja'Marr Chase going off for 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns of his own, setting new school records in both categories. The 2019 season that Justin Jefferson was a part of was quite remarkable. To put it into context, Ja'Marr Chase's 20, Justin Jefferson's 18, and Terrace Marshall Jr.'s 13 touchdown catches now sit number 1, 2, and 3 on the all-time single-season receiving touchdown list. Prior to that season, no LSU receiver had caught more than 12 touchdowns in a single season, with the record belonging to Dwayne Bowe back in 2006. Jefferson ranks 2nd in single-season touchdowns and 3rd in single-season receiving yards, and his performance that year meant a lot of national attention. In the college football playoff, Justin Jefferson went off against Oklahoma with one of the best performances of his career to date, notching 227 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns off of 14 receptions on the night. His display that day helped the Tigers overthrow Oklahoma and fire them into the national championship game, where Jefferson had another 106 yards as the Tigers claimed the title over Clemson. Jefferson was named to the 2nd team All-SEC, and upon declaring for the NFL draft, was now considered to be one of the top talents available at the position. In 2 short years, he had very quickly established himself as a receiver with great size and speed, as well as reliable hands and the ability to run a wide range of routes. The talented wideout himself noted that playing in Joe Brady's system at LSU helped him transition to the NFL in a hurry. He was effectively already playing in an NFL-style offense, so when he declared for the NFL, he could quickly grasp the concepts, alignments, and play calls in the pro game. Jefferson was considered a Tier 1B receiver in the 2020 NFL Draft, behind CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, and Jerry Jeudy. All of those guys came off the board in the earlier part of the first round, and when the Philadelphia Eagles picked Jalen Reagor out of TCU with the 21st pick of the first round, the Minnesota Vikings were on the clock. As it transpired, the Vikings valued Justin Jefferson tremendously. He was one of their favorite first-round prospects, and the footage of the front office and coaching staff celebrating on a Zoom call when the Eagles pick was announced tells the story. Jefferson would be the 5th wide receiver selected that year, after a phenomenal season at LSU, and came into the NFL more prepared than anybody might have imagined. His arrival was important to Minnesota too. They had just traded long-term talent Stefon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills. Diggs had grown unhappy in Minnesota and wanted a change, and one of the picks the Vikings got in return was used to draft his replacement, Justin Jefferson. Diggs had just completed his 3rd 1,000-plus yard season in a row for the Vikings when they agreed to trade him. His production was key to the success of the Vikings offense, and they needed to find a way to recreate that production in a hurry. It would take quite the player to replicate that success, but boy, did they find him. Justin Jefferson not only recreated the success of Stefon Diggs as a rookie, but surpassed it. Diggs' best season in Minnesota was his final season in 2019. He managed 1,209 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns that year, and then in 2020, Jefferson came in with 1,400 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns of his own. In Week 15 of that season, Jefferson broke the Vikings' rookie receiving yard record, previously held by none other than Randy Moss, and his 1,400 receiving yards set a new NFL record for single-season receiving yards, a record previously held by Anquan Boldin. So not only had the Vikings added a receiver who immediately added the same value as Stefon Diggs had, but he was also crushing new records left, right, and center. Jefferson was voted a Pro Bowler in his rookie year, a second-team All-Pro, and one of the brightest young stars in the NFL. He continued to break records in 2021 too. He'd just been named the NFC Offensive Player of the Month for the month of November, and then in Week 16, he broke Odell Beckham Jr.'s record for the most yards by any receiver in their first 2 seasons in the NFL. Jefferson surpassed his own career high as a rookie, with 1,616 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. His yardage total was good for 2nd in the league behind only Cooper Kupp, and his 10 touchdowns saw him ranked 6th in the NFL, tied with Stefon Diggs. Jefferson went to his 2nd straight Pro Bowl and was again voted a second-team All-Pro. At this point, he seemed to be going from strength to strength, with over 3,000 receiving yards and 17 TDs in his first 2 seasons in the league, plus All-Pro recognition in both of those years. But his 2022 season proved to be the best of his career so far, and at this point, his trajectory is getting a little out of hand. So much so you might want to smash the subscribe button for future videos that we will make of him. Things started out hot for Jefferson in Week 1 when he torched the rival Green Bay Packers. He caught 9 passes for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game, setting himself up for yet another monumental campaign. He finished the year with 135 receptions, 1,857 yards, and 8 touchdowns. His receptions and yards set new Minnesota Vikings franchise records, and he was named a Pro Bowler for the 3rd straight year. For the first time in his career, Justin Jefferson was named a first-team All-Pro, joining Randy Moss and Chris Carter as the only Vikings receivers in franchise history to have done so. Both of those guys are now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so things are looking pretty good for Jefferson. He does, in fact, already have his name branded in the Hall of Fame already, with his gloves and arm sleeves from an unbelievable one-handed catch against the Buffalo Bills, now on display in Canton, Ohio. Jefferson was a finalist for the League MVP award and was named the NFL Offensive Player of the Year for the 2022 season. He is just the 4th receiver in NFL history to win the award, joining Cooper Kupp, Michael Thomas, and Jerry Rice, who won it twice during his career. The Minnesota Vikings superstar now holds 2 of the top 5 season totals on the Vikings' all-time single-season receiving leaderboard, and is due an extension that could break the record for a contract given to an NFL wideout. Year after year, Jefferson has improved on his receiving total, with Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors in every one of those 3 seasons. If he continues on his current path in the league, Jefferson will rank as one of the greatest receivers of all time, having already broken records and claimed titles that make him a truly generational talent. If you like watching our videos, please tell us by subscribing. We greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching The Halftime Show.